Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Powerful Teaching with Dr. Blades. Today, I am joined by Kathy Martin, who is another one of our amazing Teach to Empower breakout session speakers. Thank you so much for joining me, Kathy.
So happy to be here, Dr. Blades.
Yeah, I guess I'll just go ahead and share with the audience that this is a do-over for Kathy and I. So we're going to try to recreate some of the magic from the first time, Kathy.
Technology is one of those things where it's like you can't live with it, you can't live without it. So
Right.
it's
Yeah, it is a necessary evil today. So, you guys, Kathy and I had a great conversation in the first interview. I'm sure we're going to give you that same energy. We're going to start off by having Kathy share with you, Kathy, share with them, if you don't mind, what led you to become a teacher?
well, let me just first say, Dr. Blades, thank you so much for allowing me to be part of your wonderful event. I wanted to become a teacher since the fourth grade. I wanted to be a fourth and fifth grade teacher since the fourth grade because my fourth grade teacher was wonderful and truly an inspiration in my life.
Wow.
Um, yeah, I just have such fond memories of being in fourth grade, and my fourth grade teacher really made that experience everything to me.
Kathy, what were some of the characteristics that you remember about her that really made you fond of not only her, but the teaching profession as a whole? Because that's a pretty early age to know what you want to do in life.
So I grew up in a pretty diverse area of Los Angeles as a young kid. And my parents got a divorce when I was going into the fourth grade. So the year that I started fourth grade, I started at a brand new school. And when I walked into my class, it was like such a culture shock because I think I was the only Asian kid in the class. And I think there were two other Hispanic kids in the class. And my best friend, who is still my best friend, she was another student of color. But other than that, it was like 25 other like blonde white kids. And it was really shocking just because I'd never been in a situation like that before. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it was just like, it was a lot. Um,
Right.
Kid. And so my teacher, Mrs. Leon, really never like made it anything. Like she was just really like inclusive and really made it safe for everybody and really allowed everyone to be seen. And so I think her allowing that really made me feel, and I didn't know that at the time, like when you're that young, like you're not that smart, but but just looking back, her ability to make all of her students feel safe, create a positive, safe learning environment, and really just spark a lot of that curiosity and that, wanting to learn. Um, yeah, like because of her and because of that was the way that she was, really affected like my, direction in life.
Kathy, thank you for sharing that. And when you mentioned being the only Asian kid in your class and that need to feel included, I think that's something that we really can't overlook because a lot of times when we hear diversity and inclusion, I think we automatically think black and white, and we don't think about other people of color and what their experiences have been when it comes to inclusion. So I just want to thank you for sharing that.
I mean, the topic of inclusion is huge to me. So, I think it's so needed. But yeah, so it's so important.
It is. It is. So you have a really interesting teaching journey. You knew you wanted to be a teacher since you were in the fourth grade, but your journey from starting in the classroom to where you are now in your teaching career is really interesting. So I wanted you to share some of that as well.
Yeah, so I actually became a fourth grade teacher. I was actually a fourth and fifth grade teacher. So my background is all in special education. So my degree is K 12. I don't know how they do it in other parts of the country, but at least here in California, like that's my teaching credential. So I got my first job teaching fourth and fifth grade special education. I absolutely loved it. And I did that for 2.5 years. And then I actually started mid year because I took over a teacher's position because she had a nervous breakdown.
Oh my goodness.
And so I was like, like, what am I getting myself into?
Mm-hmm.
It ended up being fine. And so I ended up from there being told by the school district that somebody wanted my job who had more seniority than me. So if I wanted to continue working in the school district, then I would have to move to teaching at the high school. And so I went kicking and screaming because I look like a 12-year-old. So I was not teach high school. Like I will
And that's a big jump.
huge jump. Like I really thought I was going to be stuffed in a locker or, like I was mistaken for a student daily. I was mistaken for a fifth grader a few times. Like, so don't
Oh
even
my
there.
goodness.
I'm like, I don't look like a fifth grader, really? But so I ended up teaching mostly ninth and 10th grade. I taught English and math. And then for the first couple years, and then I ended up, the department kind of phased out my English, and I've only taught math the last, 5 or 6 years. I taught at the high school for then 10 years.
Wow.
Last 5 or 6 years, it's been only math. And now, and in the last 3 years, I created a online curriculum community for middle school math teachers where I help middle school math teachers teach with ease, and where I provide them with lesson plans, resources, and support so that they don't have to do this job alone. Because when I started teaching at the high school, I had nothing, I had no one, and it was really, really hard those first few years, when it could have been easier.
Yeah, that leads a lot of teachers to burnout when they don't have access to quality materials, and then they don't have anyone who they can really go to for that support. So I think it's extremely helpful that you saw a need and then you stepped up to help fill that need. But I don't think that initially that was your aim, right? When you
Oh,
started creating
definitely
courses.
not. Definitely. I mean, it took me years. Like I was creating my own resources. I didn't know how to create my own resources first off. So I was spending so much time, online searching for stuff. I was going to the teacher store and spending like, like money, $40, $50 on like one of those small little math workbooks that I only really needed like four things out of, because
Yeah.
the rest of it
Yeah.
really pertain, or it looked too babyish, or it just didn't work for my classroom. And I found that I was spending hours looking for stuff for my students because I didn't have my own curriculum. I had books from like 1975, which like just continue to collect dust. Nobody in my department shared anything with me, so I was left to my own devices. But I found that I was spending all this time looking for things, but it only prepared me for tomorrow. And then
Mm.
tomorrow, then you're stuck in this vicious cycle of like, you're just drowning. No, you're not even drowning. You're just like trying to stay afloat. You know,
Yep.
okay, I'm prepared for tomorrow. And you're stressed about tomorrow because you don't have anything for the next day. And you spend, your evenings and your weekends like just struggling. And it's a
Yeah, and then you
team.
run out of time to really address any additional needs or additional support that your students might have because you are in survival mode.
100%. And you're not even like thinking about, you're just like trying to get the information out to your students. Like you're not Like I just felt like I could have been so much better of a teacher instead of me just like, here's a worksheet, you know?
Well, unfortunately, that is something that a lot of us have to learn the hard way. But
Yeah.
thanks to your membership, teachers really, they have someone now. They can learn from your mistakes essentially, and they can benefit from your trials, I guess.
Absolutely. And I think it's great because like I'm not an expert, like I'm not the best math teacher in the world, like I just share my experiences. I've done this for a really long time. And it's just really amazing to be in a community where I get to be a part of other amazing math teachers that we're just walking together, like we're doing this together because being a teacher is not like a solo job, like you
Right.
need people to support you and you need people to bounce ideas off of. And it's especially hard when you are at a school where you might be the only teacher who is teaching math in that grade. Like, who are you supposed to talk to,
Right.
Um, so it's really nice just to be able to get some feedback, share the trials and the stress and the hardship and the wins too.
You and I actually met through your email list. I'm subscribed to your list. Apparently, one day I saw something on social media for one of your resources, and I signed up for it because, as a high school science teacher, specifically for chemistry and physical science, I had to give my students a lot of math support. And now, when I support other teachers, I have to share with them ways to give their students math support. So that's why I was originally attracted to your email list. And then I just kind of stalked you a little bit and reached out and asked you if you wanted to be involved with the conference. But Kathy, do you think that this digital way of sharing is going to kind of take over and become the new way of PD for teachers?
I don't know, but I do love it because what this year has shown me is that I don't like to wear real pants, and that pants sweatpants are considered real pants. And anytime I can just live in my sweatpants and continue my education in being a better teacher, a better educator, like I'm all for it. Not that I don't love being in person, because I do miss in-person live events and conferences, but like you are in Atlanta. Am I mistaken that you live in Atlanta?
I live in Atlanta and I live in Central America. So I'm talking to you from Central America right now.
Okay, see, like I would never be able to, that would be like a whole thing, right? Like I'd have to get
Right.
an airplane. I gotta like, so but I can do this with you really like anytime, any day, and so that's what I love about it. Although I would love to
Yeah.
be in Central America. That'd be,
Yeah, I would love to be doing this live here and fly everyone in. That would be beyond amazing. But you're right. It is great that we all can connect this way. And I think due to the pandemic, it has taken, I don't know, probably before the pandemic, I may have been a little nervous to reach out to you. But now that we're doing everything digitally, it made me a little more comfortable with sending you that cold email and saying, hey, I know you don't know me, but
well, I will tell you that the last two friends that I made in real life was me doing just that. Hey, I don't know you, but we're going to be friends and let's get some lunch. So don't ever feel scared to reach out to people, because like this is the world of education. We have to help each other and support each other.
yeah, and if you don't have the network, build it and build it online. So you mentioned your membership, but now I want you to tell us specifically by name and what can teachers expect when they visit your site?
So my membership is called the Pre-Algebra Teachers Math Membership, and we provide lesson plans and resources for sixth, seventh, and eighth grade math teachers. And inside of the membership, we include everything that you need to teach your math class all in one place. So that includes lesson plans, bell ringers, your PowerPoint notes to teach with, practice problems, printable resources to go along with each chapter, and digital resources. And within our digital resources, we also, we have like videos for students. If they like miss your live class, you can play one of our videos that goes through each chapter. We have digital resources to use for homework, like classwork. It's really just become a place where middle school math teachers can go log in once and they have access to everything that they need for today, tomorrow, next week. So they don't have to worry and don't have to experience what we call the Sunday scaries, where, you're worried about class on Sunday night and everything's done for you.
I love it. Now, you're also going to be sharing one of your popular seminars at the Teach to Empower conference. So give us a little sneak peek into that session.
Sure. My session is all about how to keep your students engaged if you are teaching virtually. This has been one of the biggest struggles for teachers in my community, and I'm sure all across, subject matters. My session is going to be specific to math, but many of the strategies that I'm sharing will work if you are teaching math as well. And so I'm going to be sharing some of my best tips and strategies on, again, how to keep your students engaged, but I'm also sharing some of my resources that I'm using that are math specific, that I use to teach math in this distance learning platform that has really kept my students engaged, wanting to learn, turning on their camera, participating, and all that good stuff.
You say that some of your strategies can be used even if you're not using math. So I would probably attribute that to your background as a special education teacher and having to be able to adapt from one subject to the next, because you mentioned you were initially certified K through 12, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
I always tell teachers, hey, if it works in my class, it'll work in your class, because in the special ed, you have to have so many tricks in your teacher bag that you have to be able to pull from right away. And my students were always like way too cool for everything. And so if it works for them, it will work for you. And nothing that I ever share, like if it didn't work in my class, I don't share, so it's battle tested.
Yes, I appreciate that. And I always tell teachers when I'm out that I'm not going to ask you to do anything or try anything that I haven't done and tried myself. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for sharing, Kathy. I'm looking forward to your session at Teach to Empower. Let everybody know how they can connect with you.
You can find me over at prealgebrateachers.com, or you can find us at Pre-Algebra Teachers on Facebook and Instagram.
All right. Y'all, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the Powerful Teaching channel. Head over to powerfulteaching.com and grab your Teach to Empower ticket. You'll be able to see Kathy's session as well as so many other amazing breakout sessions. And Kathy's going to be joining us live for one of our Q&As, so you can interact with her and ask her questions specifically about what you learned in her session. Make sure you follow Powerful Teaching on all social media platforms, and I will see y'all in the next episode of Powerful Teaching with Dr. Blades.